Hello and welcome to Behind the Lines. I'm Diane Dayton. Today we're going to talk about firefighters and EMTs. And with us right now we have Frank A. Splain Jr. and also Duane Ober. Thank you both for being here today. Now Frank, you are a former Lancaster County EMS Council President and also former fire chief in Maytown, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Since 1977, you
Long
said.
time.
Long
Long
time.
time.
And then
Long
for
time.
over 30 years, fire commissioner in Warwick Emergency Commission, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you both have a lot of experience to share, and that's what we want to tap into today. Because I know we watch all these shows on TV, 911, Chicago Med and Fire and all of that. But what's the reality with this? How did you both get started doing what you're doing?
I was involved. My father was a volunteer firefighter for many years, so I actually grew up around a firehouse. And when I turned 16, I couldn't wait to join the fire company and been a member ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'll follow the same footsteps as Duane. My dad was also involved in the emergency services in the fire department. I joined the fire company, and joining the fire company, the fire trucks didn't go out very often. And I said one day to the fire chief, how do you ride that thing there? It takes people to the hospital. He goes, oh, you don't want to do that? No, I do want to do that. I want to do more for the community. So
Wow.
I ended up then getting cross-trained as a firefighter and as an EMT back in 1977.
So is this kind of typical? I mean, you do hear that this runs in families because you're kind of brought into it at a young age.
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of the volunteer fire service, especially in Lancaster County, is friends and family members. That's how a lot of the recruitment is done,
Okay.
Bringing in more family members or friends of the family members. But we also bring in volunteers from just within the community who are interested in serving.
Okay. You do amazing work and you see a lot. And I'm sure there are some heartbreaking situations that you see as well. But the fact that you're making this huge difference in the community, we all thank you for that too. So what does it take to do what you do? Because it's a certain type of person, right? What is that?
Back in the day, I would say back in the day, we were able to take somebody right off the street, join the fire company, fill out the application, say, here's your pager, here's your gear, come out when the pager goes off. Now there's a little bit more extensive training into that I'll let the chief here go into as far as fire. As far as the ambulance work goes, it's a tough sale to get somebody involved because most ambulance services, which we call EMS, are paid. There are some volunteer services yet here in Lancaster County which are very blessed with volunteers, but you're looking at least 1 year of training to go through along with the ride time there to get qualified and certified by the Pennsylvania Department of Health to be able to take care of a patient when their time of need occurs.
Okay.
Yeah, and most importantly, I think there's a lot of hours involved. Like to become a certified firefighter, it's over 200 hours of training. But most importantly, it takes a person with the right heart and the right mindset to do it. Especially as a volunteer, you have to be willing, to give up your free time, unknowingly when that time is going to be. And you have to have the right heart and the right mentality to want to do it.
Yeah, and that's what you mean by right heart, right mentality, because it is giving up a lot of your possible free time and that sort of thing to give to others, right?
Right, that's correct. And that's the biggest challenge in the volunteer fire or EMS services is you never know when that time is going to be. Whereas if you join a local civic club or you're coaching or helping at the church leadership, any of those things normally have a dedicated time frame for meetings or events, whereas the volunteer fire service and EMS, it could be at any given time. It could be at night when you're sleeping, at night when or in the evening when you're eating dinner, at any time. You just don't know.
Are there age requirements, minimum, maximum? What would that be?
Well, for the fire service, I'll speak first. You can join as a junior firefighter at age 14.
Oh, wow.
Some communities have that, some fire companies, some of them are 16 years old. But to be a firefighter that does interior firefighting, you have to be a minimum of 18 years old. And then
For EMS, I can relate, and I just want to tag team. The exciting thing when Duane said about being family, both of my sons, 36 and 38, are involved in the fire service, and my grandson is just now coming on board at the age of 14. So it is family-oriented, family-generated. But for EMS, it's a little bit different. Services will bring you in at the age of 16 where you can take a state-certified emergency medical technician course, but the magical age is 18 to be able to take care of a patient to transport them to the hospital. So they can ride at 16 and 17, but 18 is the magic number.
Is there any aging out with this?
No, I mean, you would think sometimes it matches up to like a normal retirement age, but in the volunteer fire service, a lot of guys, that's when they have their free time that they can give more, you know.
Right.
So, and you know, most of those are the people who are just drivers or they're chief officers, but they're not putting the air pack on going inside fires anymore.
It's like there's always something they can
Correct.
do, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what type of person, what background do you think is best suited? Whether there's a natural ability in this area or that, what would be a good skill set?
The one thing in the fire service, it's a mix. It can be blue collar or white collar people, you know, and a lot of the volunteer fire companies, especially the rural areas, are made up of blue collar people that just come together, serve their community, and then run the business to the best of their ability. And some of the white collar volunteer firefighters provide extra experience, like whether they're engineers or architects or, you know, guys who have experience running businesses, like, you know, whether they're the treasurer or president. There's a lot of ways they can serve the fire company.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Somebody that has lots of compassion. They're a people person, but they need to be a good critical decision maker, quick decision thinking. It's a lot of stress, lots and lots of stress involved in this. And as the chief was saying, it's a mixture of everything, and even bringing in the Amish, called the Amish sect into this. We have quite a few companies here in Lancaster County that are very heavily Amish driven, and they are blessed with volunteers and can literally drop, one station could drop 2 ambulances and 4 fire trucks within 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes. That's unheard of in a lot of places because the volunteerism has dropped, and we have lost that significant way of bringing folks into the door. You're trying to bring a young man in his 20s, early 30s, has a family, has children, has a full-time job, and now say, come join the fire department. But along with that comes all this training. It's a lot to ask of somebody nowadays.
Yeah. I know you both have stories because you both have years of experience. Can you share a story that's near and dear to your heart where you know you made this huge impact that you saw? I know there's a lot. Is there a brief story you could either share?
There are some, I won't get too specific,
Right.
but when you serve your local community, you become very well known throughout the community as being a provider of care. And it's always great when you are there and you hear the comments like, I knew you were coming, or I was expecting you to be here.
Yeah.
So those are the stories that you know you made a difference. And, you know, unfortunately, when you have the really bad incidents, you have people, we have a follow-up with the family a lot of times, and you get to hear their appreciation, but unfortunately it's in a sad time, but a great time of appreciation for what we do.
Yeah, your thoughts.
Here's a real good one. Received my EMT certification in '77. All those years go by. 5 years ago, I was at a training on a Thursday evening. There was a doctor there, and we were going through different skills. It was a Thursday evening, and one of the skill stations was delivering a baby. I'm like, I'm not going to deliver no baby. I've never delivered a baby. I've transported dozens and dozens of maternities, never going to deliver a baby.
Right.
That was on a Thursday evening. On a Sunday afternoon, I get dispatched for a maternity. We roll into the house, and there lays mom on the living room floor, and she's not going nowhere. And I literally am like sweating. The sweat is just rolling off. I delivered that baby that afternoon on that living room floor, and it was just a natural high. I have constant communication with her to this day. So that's just a natural high. Or to be able to go to somebody, a sick or injured person, and they're having a bad day, I walk in, that's not a good thing that I'm in their house. I always tell them, the good Lord sent me to take care of you. I always use that because I believe in that 100%. And I'll just share one other story. 2 years ago, cardiac arrest, the man's heart stopped, very young age, in his early 50s. My 2 sons and I were on the ambulance that day, picked him up. He was shocked 13 times. We got him to the local hospital at Lancaster General. He made it, and that connection is so significant that it took me from my normal place of worship to his place of worship, and we are so bonded now.
Wow.
It's the hype of helping somebody. It's not the hype of running down through the middle of the street with blue lights and sirens and all that and stuff like that, but the camaraderie also of the brothers and sisters, as we so call ourselves when we're at our stations. It's like family. It's like family.
It is. So if someone watching is interested in becoming either a firefighter or EMT, where do we go?
There is a National Volunteer Fire Council website. It's called makemeafirefighter.org.
Wow.
If you enter your zip code, it'll put you in touch with the closest fire company that you can reach out to them, whether you want to be a firefighter or EMT. It's a National Volunteer Firefighter Council, but there are ambulance associations in there as well.
Okay, so that's a good place to
Yes.
start because
Yep.
it will then connect you locally.
Right. Or, and then even just your simple local volunteer fire company websites or Facebook pages, we get a
Okay.
lot of requests through our Facebook Messenger page.
Okay, what is your Facebook page?
I'm
that's
involved.
a-
I'm involved in several fire companies.
Okay, so we'll just
Yeah.
go on and
Yep.
do a search, and
Yep.
we'll find
Yep.
it too. Thank you so much for the difference
Thank
you
you.
make in the
Yeah,
community
thank
and
you.
taking care of all of us. We're going to take a brief pause, and we come back. We're going to hear more. Stay with us.
Family tradition passed down to his son on his first day. Tries on his helmet, proud smile on his daddy's face. Told stories of what he might see, told him more than once or twice. When it's in your blood to serve, protect, and save a life. So why do we do what we're doing? Must be something deep inside. Why do we risk our lives for someone we barely know? Here I am, and here we go, middle of the night, and here we go. Don't know what we're gonna find, and here we go. I'm just hoping that we all make it home tonight. Young boys caught in the rapids on the river on the east side. 20-car pop on the interstate, 4 lanes wide. She said the baby's coming, and this one's number 8. Father's heart stops beating, hoping that he makes it through another day. So why do we do what we're doing? Must be something deep inside. Why do we risk our lives for someone we barely know? Here I am, here we go, middle of the night,
Wow, that was a beautiful song. And with us right now, we have the co-writer and also the performer of this, Gina Miller. You have been a firefighter and also an EMT for over a decade, and then this song came to you.
Yes.
Through an experience that you most recently had. Tell us more about that. And joining us, continuing with Frank.
My husband and I met at the fire, well, basically because he towed my car, but the fire department brought us together. And his whole family's, most of them are firefighters. His brothers, some of his brothers, his nephew. And when my son turned 16, that's all he talked about was he wanted to become a firefighter. And my husband had gotten out of it for a little bit. When we moved, my husband said, well, I'm going to join the fire department again too because I want to be with Andrew. So when they joined the fire department, Andrew was joking around with me one day and he said, you know, everybody has a song about them but me. I said, it's hard to write a song about you. But then when he joined the fire department and he made that statement, the song just came out, and I called my co-writer, Tim McGreary, who's also a firefighter paramedic, retired in Florida, and we wrote the song. And plus I wanted to have something to help with volunteerism. I wanted people to know why people do what they do, and if you have that calling to reach out to your community and volunteer.
Yeah.
So I was kind of hoping that song would help with volunteerism. Fire departments can maybe use it, make their own video to it, and promote volunteerism in their community.
And as we both were talking, it's in your blood, right? Definitely in your blood.
The words of her song it's just touching. It reaches out, and any emergency responder involved in fire or EMS, or even I'll throw in the police officers. Any emergency responder can relate to her song. But when the public sees this song and sees that video, it's very heartwarming. It's touching. I just can't say enough. But it's in its blood. It's in your blood is a big thing because, like we said earlier, it's family oriented. Once you join, it's family oriented.
Yeah.
And it's crazy at 3 a.m. in the morning. Why do we get up and do what we do? And never known if you're going to come back home to your family, leaving your family behind. She touched everything in that song.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
So Gina, what did you experience and what did you learn during your time?
As an EMT firefighter?
Yes.
Well, it's up and down. You deliver babies. You can be delivering a baby at 3 in the morning, and 6 o'clock you're getting called out for a cardiac arrest. So you experience life and death, but you're with people. I mean, nobody wants to see anybody die, but if you're at a situation, and you can relate to this, you don't want somebody to die by themselves. If you're there and you're helping them and it's their time, you know, that's, I don't know what kind of experience to call it, but it's kind of like it's almost a beautiful experience to be with somebody when they're leaving this earth.
Yeah.
You know, just to know that somebody was with them. I mean, it's heart-wrenching to know that you couldn't save them.
Yes.
But then there's the times where you do save people, where you come on an accident and it looks so bad, and you're thinking, and you know this, you're coming on an accident, and you're like, there's no way anybody survived that. And you get there, and people are walking out of cars.
Wow.
And then there's a small accident where somebody did die, and you're thinking, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
That they, so you never know what you're coming up on. Never.
Right.
There's so much compassion involved in this. I just like to relate one thing. Going out on calls, you walk in, especially the elderly, they're upset, they're sick, they're not feeling well, they're having a bad day. You walk in, and just let me die. And my always comeback is, well, the good Lord sent me to take care of you. If he didn't want this to be this way, I wouldn't be staying in your living room at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I believe that. Right. I sincerely believe that. And you can't save everybody. It's impossible. If we have all this equipment, all this training. It's just if things work out with the physiology of the patient and stuff, that's great, but it doesn't always work out on the positive side. But there's always negatives with the positives, like Gina said, up and down constantly.
Yeah. Now, Gina, you're a nurse.
Yes.
So what training did you need?
For EMT?
Yeah, EMT, firefighting,
I'm
all that
a
sort of
little
thing.
on the older side.
Okay.
Stop. So I joined. I could not wait to join when I was 16. The fire department. So I talked about. I did the candy striping thing before that. And then I went right to the fire department. Well, I joined the ambulance. My dad was Italian. He said, I know one of you running with the fire trucks. But the fire trucks were with the ambulance, a lot of them back then. It's separated a little bit nowadays. But so I ended up being a firefighter because they were screaming for help too. So give me a tiny little thing. Well, at the time, I was a tiny little thing, and I did it. I took all the firefighting classes, and and I did what I could. They didn't let me do a whole lot. I ended
Right.
up filling the air bottles most of the time.
Okay.
Because I think they were afraid of something falling on my head in a burning building or something. But I enjoyed it. I really wanted to help, and the ambulance I was on the most.
But every job is key, isn't it? It's all a part of
Team.
the whole. It is a
Yes.
team, isn't it? So some of those jobs are what, Frank?
You could have anything from cleaning up, and it's a broad vision now what the emergency services are asking for. They're not asking for people to ride the ambulance and ride the fire trucks. Somebody that can help with administrative duties, somebody can help with maintenance of the building, somebody can help with finances. You get businessmen and women in the community that are very good and deal with finances. There are so many avenues now of volunteerism to do within the community to keep those fire trucks and ambulances going out the door. So it's a multitude. It's not just one specific job. Even for that 14-year-old boy that just joined, he can ride that fire, but there's certain things he can do and can't do, but you start out young and move your way up to that magical age, like we said earlier, of 18.
Yeah. I know we had talked a little bit earlier about a website if we want to go to, and it's basically, and it's real easy to remember, makemeafirefighter.org, and that will send you
Yes.
where you need to go. And you can also help volunteer or go to any of your local stations. as
Any
well, too.
Monday evening here in Lancaster County, normally Monday evenings is a good time, but normally there's people at the fire stations not around the clock, but in the evening hours, weekends, just walk up and pound the door and say, hey, I'd like to get involved. I'd like to see what you have to offer. They'll be more than willing to give you an application and get you inside.
Yeah, Gina, do you have a final thought for us on that?
We need volunteers. I mean, a lot of it's paid. I mean, they do have paid EMS services.
Ambulances
but,
paid, yes.
But for the rest of the services, they still need volunteers.
Yeah.
So, and it's, like they were saying on the first segment, it's a family thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a family thing. I started out, nobody in my family was a fireman or EMT. They thought I was crazy, I think, because I was the first one to do it, but then I met Kevin. And,
Well, it's got to start somewhere.
That's
right?
right.
And you
That's
see
right.
somebody walking down the mall or at a grocery store and you see that fire department name on the back of their t-shirt, walk up and tap them and say, hey, how do I join?
Yes.
What can I do to join that? Because we all wear our t-shirts.
Okay.
That's just something we
Okay.
all wear our name on the back of our shirts.
Yeah.
Hey, how do I join?
Yeah.
And that's always a good move. They'll be more than willing to bring you in.
That's excellent. And now, where do we find your song? How do we find your song?
It's on YouTube. If you type in Here We Go, like I guess you go to the YouTube link, type in Here We Go, Gina Miller, it'll come up.
Okay.
But
We can find that,
yes.
play it, share it.
I don't think it's on my website yet.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll look at there. Thank you so much for
Thank
everything
you.
that you do in the community and for coming on and sharing some of the experiences and how we can get involved too, because it really, really does make a difference.
It does.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Diane Dayton with Behind the Lines, reminding you to look behind the lines. You might be surprised what you find.